Radio Bypass.
It's a new day. Just let the sun shine down on you. It's a new day. Don't let it get away from
you. All right, turn it up. This is Radio Bypass, and today we're bringing you something really special. Not just another interview, not just a couple of tracks. We're going old school. We're going back to when albums were experienced, when every song had a story, when you dropped the needle and let the whole thing ride. Today we're taking you track by track through New Day, the brand new album from John Corabi. And here's the twist. John's right here with us, and he's going to walk us through every song on the record, what it means, where it came from, and the stories behind it. And after each story, we're going to crank the track. This is rock and roll that deserves to be heard, and let's get into it. John, welcome to Radio Bypass, man.
Thanks for having me again, buddy.
Hey, my pleasure. I am so thrilled with New Day, and I am so happy that people now will have a chance to hear it in its entirety, as I've had the pleasure of being able to do ahead of time, and it's just a stellar record, and I'm really excited to have you joining us and kind of going old school with playing an album all the way through like we used to hear when we were growing up.
Yeah, I remember the old days of Rockline and I'm sitting around listening to Aerosmith and go through track by track for their new record Rocks. So I'm all about it.
Yeah, me too, buddy. All right, so you kind of have the idea. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go song by song through New Day. You give us the story, the meaning, whatever you want to share. And then we're going to play the track right after, just like the classic radio specials. I know that sounds good, right?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so let's kick this thing off with the title track, New Day. This song has a Beatles vibe to it. So, John, set the stage for us. What does the song represent, and why was this the right way to open the album?
Well, it's just, I've always loved the riff. This one took a minute for Marty and I to put together. But I've always loved the riff. I thought it was, I kept telling Marty, like, there's something here with that opening guitar riff. I think this is going to be a good song. And then once we came up with the map for the tune, I don't know if it was me or Marty that said New Day, but I just went home and I just wrote lyrics about, for lack of a better term, without sounding too cliched, but like how I live my life. Anybody that's followed my career knows I've had some incredible highs, but also some incredible lows as well. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about being human is when you do have just a miserable day, you can go to bed at night, shrug it off, and you have the opportunity to reset yourself and get up the next day, just thank the Lord that you're breathing and just move on and do your thing. And it's just, I've never been somebody to like whine or complain. And again, I just try to live my life with, there's a phrase in the song that says, yesterday's gone. You cannot change it. Today is the day to rearrange it, and tomorrow is a day that may or may not come at all. So live your life in the moment. New Day.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, I think that is a great setup for the song. So let's hear it. This is New Day, John Corabi, right here on Radio Bypass.
Sunshine and joy before it's gone. It won't last
That's John Corabi, New Day, title track from his brand new masterpiece. And we're just getting started. We're breaking down the entire album with John himself right here on Radio Bypass. All right, let's move on to the next song, That Memory. We've all got that memory, John. Was this pulled from something real in your life?
Not well, lyrically. I mean, we all have, there is a girlfriend, a band, or a job or something that we've done in the past that we're like, oh my God, I just want to forget that even happened. So I'm sure everybody's got one of those things, but that memory was, I had reached out to, now he's become a really good friend, but I reached out to Charlie Starr from Blackberry Smoke and asked him to do a guitar solo on a song, another song on the record, and which Charlie obliged me with. But about a week after I asked him to do the solo, he just sent me this little phone recording of him playing acoustic guitar and just scatting a melody into his phone. And I thought the first line was brilliant that he had, and it said, looking in my rearview mirror, watch it all fade away.
Right.
And then he was scatting some stuff, and then he sang, I don't need that memory anymore. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. So I obviously played it for my wife. She fell in love with it immediately. And then the next day I took it to the studio and I played it for Marty. And he goes, okay, yeah, dude, that kicks ass. So we changed the key to suit my voice. And then I sat down and I just wrote lyrics to, what Charlie originally started. I don't need that memory anymore. And, it doesn't necessarily have to be about a girl. Like I said earlier, it could be any situation that didn't work well for you.
Yes.
And you're just like, God, if I could just go back and redo that, I just want to forget about that even happened.
Right.
So that's basically the gist of the song. But thank you, Charlie Starr, for the riff.
Yeah, good job, Charlie. All right, well, let's crank it up. This is That Memory, John Corabi, off A New Day, right here on Radio Bypass.
Situation's getting clearer, and I don't
That's John Corabi, That Memory from New Day, and we're breaking down the entire album with John himself right here on Radio Bypass. And the next track, beautiful song, Faith, Hope, and Love. We all need faith, hope, and love, John. What was the inspiration for this one?
Well, just in reference to the last song we played, this is the song that I asked Charlie to play the lead guitar stuff on, which I think he nailed beautifully. But from a lyrical point of view, I mean, it's just, to me, it's just crazy. Unfortunately, we are inundated with bad news all the time.
All the time. We
are inundated with just people arguing with other people and disagreeing, whether it's politics, religion, so just everything. And I just kind of sat there. I was watching the news one day with my wife, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, we are so pathetic right now. The human race. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, I do. And I feel the same way.
Yeah, and I've always kind of been like, it takes the same amount of energy to be an asshole as it does to be kind. Mm-hmm. So I just sat down and wrote these, lyrics about just being decent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having a little faith in your, even if someone's got a different skin color or they believe in a different religion, it's just like, have a little faith in humanity. Have a little faith in, people, like other people. Like, don't judge a book by its cover, just whatever. And I just love the lyrics to this song. And again, I'm sorry, I'm going to bring my wife up because she's my sounding board as I write a lot of this stuff.
She's a smart lady, too.
Well, and she actually said to me, one of the most amazing lines you've ever written is in that song where I just said, and never look down on another unless you're helping them back up again.
I love that. Yeah.
And it's just like, come on, folks, it's not that hard to be kind. To be kind, yeah. So, hence the song, all I need is faith, hope, and love. You know what I mean?
And I love that. And this whole album really is, to me, is filled with positivity. But let's go get some faith, hope, and love, folks. Let's hear it. This is Faith, Hope, and Love, John Corabi on Radio Bypass.
People, I've got something to get off my shoulder. It feels like we're sinking, drifting apart every day. Yeah, we spend all our time chasing money, but seem to be missing the sign. You got what you give to your brother, so brother, be kind. I don't need anything. I've got open arms and a song to sing. No, I don't need anything but faith, hope, and love. My mama and daddy said always be good to each other. A good man is steady and ready to lend you a hand, and never look down on another unless you're helping them back up again. You got what you give to your brother. Do you need a hand? I
that's John Corabi, Faith, Hope, and Love from New Day. All right, let's move into the next one, When I Was Young. And John, I know in your book, Horseshoe and Hand Grenades, you had written about some of the crazy experiences you had when you were young. Looking back, what's something the younger version of you got right? I kind of got a multi-pronged question here. What's something the younger version of you got right? What's something that he had completely wrong? And do either of these play a role when you were writing this song?
Well, you know what? The song actually came about because Marty and I both have sons that, I joke about it. I'm like, we could have tried and I'm sure we both did, tried to get him to be a dentist or a lawyer or whatever. And somehow they just happened to follow Dad's footsteps into the music industry. But, we both find ourselves being asked questions like, hey, my son will call me and go, hey, Dad, when you did this, like, how did you handle, you know what I mean? And it's like you wind up indirectly giving advice. So when we were working on the song, we mapped it out. Marty was just kind of scatting a melody as I was playing. And he just kind of off the cuff, he said, he sang something, a little melody, and he just said, when I was young. So I came home and I worked on the lyrics. And really, in all honesty, it's about a guy reminiscing about all the ups that he's had, but also some of the downs, some of the things that maybe he screwed up.
Right.
And maybe he didn't see it in his youth, but he can now see it in hindsight. Like, oh, yeah, I probably should take the blame for that one. But he's doing it in conversation with his son. So it's like he's giving advice like, hey, here's how I handled this, and it was awesome. Here's how I handled this, and it didn't work out so good. Right. So take this information I give you, and hopefully your life will be better than mine. But don't forget, the time doesn't wait for anybody. We're all getting older day by day, so make the right choices.
Got it. I love that. All right. Well, guys, check this out. Beautiful song from John Corabi, When I Was Young, off of New Day.
At the days gone by, I reminisce and wonder why all the things I could have done when I was young. say we're getting old. Well, we're not the only ones. Can you hear me, son? Well, the clock don't stop for no one in the city, and time don't ever wait for anyone. All the dues that I paid made me what I am today. So look at what I've done when I was young. Look at what I've done when I was young.
That's John Corabi, When I Was Young, from New Day. And the next track on the album is One More Shot. Does it kind of tie in here? Maybe. This feels like a second chance anthem. What's the One More Shot in this song about, John?
Well, you know, it's funny. This one actually came about, like the riff in One More Shot was actually a riff that I came up with that I was going to put as a solo section in That Memory.
Okay.
And we recorded it that way. And then Marty was like, I don't think we need it, dude. Like, I think we need to dumb this down. So we pulled the riff out. And then Marty goes, but I love the riff. We should write something, you know.
Using that.
Using a riff. So we actually sat down and we wrote this song. And again, it's just about a guy that's, you know, not reminiscing, but like can look at a situation in hindsight. And he realizes, like, I probably shouldn't have told, you know, or shouldn't have done that with whether it, you know, obviously in the song I'm talking about a girl,
right?
But it's like maybe I shouldn't have treated her the way I did or whatever. And now he's going back and he's like, if you just give me one more shot, I promise I will right the ship.
Right.
So he's just asking for another opportunity to, you know, make things correct.
Got it. So basically everybody deserves one more shot.
Yes. At least one.
At least one. All right, good enough. Well, guys, let's hear it. This is One More Shot, John Corabi on Radio Bypass.
Here I am on bended knee. I let you down and it's plain to see. I'll take the blame, but there's something left unsaid. Check it out. Gave up my whiskey in reckless days. Do you believe that a man can change? Are you too far gone? Tell me, are those feelings dead? I don't know. Well, why can't you see? I'm begging, please. Just give me one more shot and I'll stay in line. One more shot and I swear this time. Cross my heart and I hope to die. One more shot and we'll be alright, yeah. I was a mess, baby, I can't lie. But got in my way was my stupid pride. Yeah, I was a fool, my
That's John Corabi. One More Shot from New Day. Next up is 1969, one of my absolute favorites of this album, although I shouldn't really say that because they're all my favorites. But anyway, we touched on this song when you were here last time, John, when we were talking about the album coming out. And we did talk a little bit about this, but please share what it was about that era that inspired you to write this.
Well, the song actually started with giving credit where credit is due. Marty had just worked with Buck Cherry, and he had recorded and written some songs with those guys, and he mentioned to Stevie D that I was doing a solo record. So Stevie texted me and said, "Hey man, I got some ideas. What are you looking for?" And I said, "Man, I'm just going 60s, 70s." And I wrote, Think Zeppelin, Creedence, Bob Seger, and, and he sent the riff. It was like kind of a whole mapped out song, but Marty and I just really liked the riff that he was using in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were kind of mapping out the music, and for some weird reason, I was just scatting a melody over the chorus, and I don't know where it came from, but just the thought, we ran through it all back in 1969. I said that. So Marty's like, "Oh, that was kind of cool." So I went home after we mapped it out, and I wrote some lyrics for it. And to be honest with you, I remember 1969. I remember how volatile things were back then. And I was telling my wife, I was looking at the news now,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife's like, "Oh my God, I've never seen anything like this before, how divided people are."
Right.
And I said, "Well, I have." And I said it was in the 60s, early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And which just made it that much more, I already kind of had an idea. And then watching the news, so I sat down and I just wrote about all these things that happened in 1969. If you look at the lyrics, there's definitely some references to, the Vietnam War,
Right.
social issues, just all the stuff. So
stuff we saw at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was funny because there's a line in there. Well, it is weird. I'm sorry, this is a bit of a long answer.
That's okay.
But a lot of people ask me, they don't understand the lyrics because they're a bit younger than I am.
Right.
Even my wife, she goes, "What does 5 for a nickel, 10 for a dime mean?"
Mm-hmm.
And I go, "Well, that's kind of what we used to pay for weed."
Right.
And they're like, "Oh, okay." Judy and Brian said their goodbyes. I'm talking about Judy Garland passed that year from a drug overdose.
Right.
Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones, died that year from a drug overdose. But one of the things that I remember as clear as a bell was in the second verse, I talk about, it says they gathered down in Washington, 500,000 voices strong. And I went to Catholic school in Philadelphia, and I remember all the parents had to sign waivers. We had a bunch of parents chaperoning us. But I remember the entire school rented school buses, and we all went to the peace rally down in Washington, D.C.
Oh, did you?
I was probably 10 or 11 years old. And so these were all memories that I had from that year. And
Right.
And it was really kind of triggered off of what's going on right now. And it's just still to this day, it amazes me that back then we were fighting over the Civil War. There was the pro, the con. Then there was the whole hippie movement, which the guys that were in business suits and working every day did not understand.
Right.
And I go, here we are 60 years later, and we're still as fucking divided as we were then. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was an appropriate song to put out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, because as we discussed in the past, we're about the same age. You're just slightly older, and so yeah, I remember all that vividly as well. And I've had those same thoughts with the way things are today, and thinking back to those times. So, guys, we're going to crank up 1969 now. Now, many of you listening may not have been there, but you might understand with John's explanation a little bit more about why this song is so, to me, meaningful lyrically, and the music, of course, is great. So check this out, John Corabi, 1969 on Radio Bypass. That's John Corabi, 1969 from New Day. That brings us through the first half of the new album. We're going track by track through New Day with John Corabi, and the next track is Laurel. And Laurel, to me, seems almost like a continuation of 1969, because it strikes me as being kind of in the same time period, but maybe in Laurel Canyon. But you tell us, John, who or what is Laurel?
Well, and that was Laurel is definitely, you nailed it. A lot of people think it's about a girl, but I was inspired to write that song after watching, there was a Netflix documentary called Echoes in the Canyon.
Mm-hmm. I saw it.
And yeah, it was just so brilliant. And you know, like I was listening to the stories that Graham Nash was telling, and just Mickey Dolenz and all these cats. And, you know, it's funny, again, I apologize. I'm not that emasculated, so I just want to My wife and I talk all the time, and
Sorry, I'm just thinking about that statement. It just made me laugh.
yeah, it's funny. But my wife, like, I'm a bit of a music nerd, so like I have a couple motorcycles, and like a month or two ago, we were riding around, and I was just playing a Burn record, Deep Purple Burn. And she heard the song Sail Away, and she's like, oh my God, I love this song. Who is this? So I just found myself, I'm sitting at a bar with her, and I'm just playing her like all the different tracks, and I'm telling her, they had this singer, and then they had Ian Gillan, Al David Coverdale, and so she had no idea that David Coverdale was in Deep Purple,
Oh, wow.
she just knows him from Whitesnake.
Gotcha.
And anyway, her thing is, she always says, when I tell her these facts about whoever, Grand Funk or Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, she goes, damn it, I was born 10 years too late. And then I saw the Echoes in the Canyon thing, and I said the same thing. God, I was born 10 years too late. If I would have been in California, like 10 or 15 years earlier, I know I would have been all hanging out with the Peter Torks and, all these cats.
Right.
So I was just so inspired by it that I sat down and I wrote the song Laurel. And I was just trying to make it like, if Laurel Canyon could talk, the stories it would tell.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
So that's where Laurel came from, and that's another one. I love this song.
I do too, and I'm glad I was on the right track because listening to it, that's kind of what I was thinking you were thinking, but now we know for sure.
No, you nailed it, buddy.
Yeah, great tune. All right, so guys, hear it for yourself. This is John Corabi, Laurel from New Day.
Stars are all around her, a history of living free, and those that don't confound her. There was a time when people came for love and inspiration. Now there's just the memories, but never conversation. She tells the tale of winding roads that were once serene. Children danced, sang a song, smoked her grass so green. Laurel, can you tell me what you've seen? Blue skies and a sunny breeze. Laurel, on the faces of these years, were they smiling, were there tears along the way? As it all just slipped away. Canyon walls, coyote calls, on a road, let's travel. The melodies that echoed here are quiet and unraveled. Lost at times when people came without an invitation, but we still have from the long all just slipped away.
That's John Corabi, Laurel, from New Day. The next track up on the album is Good to Be Back Here Again. And this song hits me a few ways, John. Kind of seems like it's about redemption or forgiveness, but what is it about?
Honestly, it's funny. I know so many people, and even myself included, like growing up as a kid in Philadelphia, I left to pursue a dream. And I went to LA and it worked out for me.
Right.
But how many times have we heard these stories about these people that came from a small town, in the Midwest, and they're like, oh man, this town sucks. There's nothing to do. And then they go to LA or Vegas or Florida or wherever, New York. And they live the life, even if they're successful, but somehow they manage to, they get older and they appreciate the little things that town that they grew up in, or those friends that they had that they maybe neglected for a while.
Right.
And one of the things that I learned, again, I apologize about the length of my answers, but one of the things that I learned when I was in Motley was, when I was in the band, everybody gave me guitars, everybody gave me clothes. People wanted me to drive their cars, come to their parties. But as soon as Vince came back, that was it. It was over.
You were yesterday's news, huh?
I was yesterday's news. And one of the things that I really learned to value was, you don't need a lot of friends, but it's just like that handful of people that will always keep you in check and tell you when you're being an ass.
Exactly.
And it's just about that full circle moment where you realize, you know what? So it is about redemption. It is about maybe some mistakes you made along the way, but it's good to be back grounded and hanging out with, these honest people that'll always keep you in check.
Nice.
So,
I love that. All right. Well, guys, let's hear it. This is Good to Be Back Here Again. John Corabi on Radio Bypass.
Jesus, forgive me for all of my sins. I've emptied some bottles, God knows where I've been. Some memories come easy, others you wanna forget. My daddy was hard and my mother stood by. We didn't have much, but they prayed for the food and praised the good Lord every night. That's right. One foot keeps moving, one's in the grave. I'm sorry I've caused so much pain. My aching old bones have shown me the way and bring me back to you today. It's good to be back here again. It's good to be back here again. It's good to be back here again.
That's John Corabi. Good to be here again from New Day. Let's continue our journey with John through New Day. The next track up is Love That'll Never Be. And that title hits kind of hard. Is this about love lost or love that never had a chance?
Well, it's about love lost. You know, and I've had a few of these where, you know, there were certain people that were in my life that at the time they didn't think that I was the right person.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I don't want to say they took me for granted, but I just remember I dated a girl and all of her friends were telling her, they were in her ear and they were just going, what does he have to offer you? He's a musician. Look at him. He's, you know, tattoos and what has he got to offer you? What has he got to offer you? And and she kind of got caught up in it, and she went left, I went right. We called it a day. But it was later, like all of her friends basically told her, like 5 or 10 years later, like they were like, John was your true love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's too late now.
Right.
So it's the love that'll never be. So it's about love, it's about loss, but it's also about regret. So
do you have the regret or does that girl have the regret?
well, the person, you know, in this case, it's the girl that has the regret. And it's like, he wasn't that bad after all. He was, you know, whatever. So it's just called Love That'll Never Be because the guy's obviously moved on.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
All right. Well, let's move on to the track. Guys, crank it up. This is Love That'll Never Be by John Corabi right here on Radio Bypass.
She wakes up on the wrong side of the bed alone. Thinks about a time that's passed her by. Makes a cup of coffee, reaches for the phone to see. With no word from him, begins to cry, you know. Time and time she plays the same old song. Don't know what you've got until it's gone. He's really gone. Time, they say, heals everything, but not goodbyes. She checks her phone 1,000 times, he doesn't call. Did she push him to the point of no return? Took his love for granted, left his heart abandoned. Now she gave up everything to be back in
That's John Corabi, Love That'll Never Be from New Day. Next up is Cosi Bella, or Cosi Bella.
Cosi Bella.
I loved it when it was previously released as a standalone single, and I'm so glad that it got included on New Day. And this one stood out to me right away then, and again now listening to it in the context of the full album. Where did the inspiration come from for this one?
Well, this would be the flip side to Love That'll Never Be. This would be, you know, if we can continue on with the story, this would be like, I'm using myself as an example. This would be me telling the girl, not the girl that left,
Right.
you know, because her friends were telling her he's blah, blah, blah. But this would now be me telling the guy that's checking the girl out, that's thinking about maybe I should date her. This is about me saying, like, hey, dude, she's pretty fucking awesome. Like, you know what I mean? She's so beautiful. She's all these things. She's going to tell you what she thinks. But you know, and then because at the end I say, you know, she used to be mine.
Used to be mine, yeah.
Yeah. So this is me just saying, like, she's a badass. Get ready. She's a handful, but it'll be worth the ride.
All right, got it. All right, guys, well, check this out. You'll love it. It's Cosi Bella, John Corabi on Radio Bypass.
Here's a little song about a woman I know. Don't need a lot, but you better give your all. She got a gleam in her eyes, as bright as the sun, and everybody knows that she's the one. Now you're calling awake, you're tripping on the clues. She gives you a smile, you got nothing to lose. You feel like you're sinking, but just overthinking. You're wasting the time. She's got a gift. She's so beautiful. Can you feel the love around her? She's so beautiful, and only a fool would let her go. And brother, I know she used to be mine. Can't say enough about the love that she brings. Poetry in motion makes you wanna sing every word that she says. You hang by a thread, and everybody knows you've come undone. She's a one of a kind, diamond or pearl, a once in a lifetime, a natural girl. I know what you're feeling, your head is just reeling. You want all the love, she's got a gift. She's so beautiful. Can you feel the love around her? She's so beautiful.
That's John Corabi, Cosi Bella from New Day. Next up is another song that had been released previously, but it fits really well with this album, and that's Your Own Worst Enemy. The title is brutally honest. Have you ever felt, and I think perhaps the answer is yes, that you're your own worst enemy?
I can be at times. I think we all have those moments where, you know, it's basically about a person that continues to do the same things over and over and over again, thinking there's going to be a different outcome.
Right.
Until they realize, you know, it's not the rest of the world. It's me. I'm doing this to myself. And I've even had a few friends in the past that were struggling with even things like addictions. It could be anything, whether it's drugs, sure, alcohol, even physical abuse, whatever.
Right.
So this is just me telling a friend, like, you know, dude, like, you can't blame the cops for pulling you over and giving you a DUI. You were drunk to begin with and shouldn't be driving the car. Right. You know what I mean? So you're your own worst enemy. Pretty much says it all.
And do you think, what do you think holds people back the most? What, you know, when it comes to being your own worst enemy, is it fear, doubt, something else? What do you think?
It could be, you know, it's a combination. It could be fear, could be doubt, could be insecurities. I mean, whatever you want to label it. But the thing that holds people back is themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's that? There's an old. There's all these proverbs, and it's like, you know, life hands you lemons. You know,
make lemonade. Yeah.
Yeah, make lemonade or squeeze it into a vodka, for Christ's sake. But there's an old phrase I remember: the difference between you can and you can't. Or something. There was some phrase that I remember just reading, and I was like, oh my God, it's brilliant, because the only, you know, or what is it? God, I'm gonna have a brain fart right now, but
yeah, I'm trying to think too of some of those.
It's like the difference between failure and succeeding, or like whatever is, like, at least you tried. Right. You took the initiative to try and do something, even if you messed up. It's fine, but I think, you know, I think the thing with most people, when you were saying, like, what's the thing that holds them back? Themselves.
Got it.
So you're your own worst enemy.
Okay. Well, let's crank it up. Check it out. Your Own Worst Enemy, John Corabi on Radio Bypass.
Feels like I've been facing this forever. A rally
That's John Corabi, your own worst enemy from New Day. By now, I'm sure you all can hear why this is such a great album and why I love it so much. But we've got one more tune to go. A stellar cover of Sly and the Family Stone's Everyday People. John, we touched a bit on this song when you were last here, but to close the album with Everyday People, what message did you want listeners to leave listeners with?
You know, it's such a brilliant song by a brilliant musician. To me, Sly Stone was the original Prince.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you go back and listen to his songs, he was able to take a multicultural, he had some white guys in the band, his family. So they mixed the whole black and white thing at a time, if you remember.
And that wasn't exactly
civil
friendly.
rights was right. He somehow managed to do it and wrote these amazing songs. And a lot of the lyrics were politically charged lyrics.
Definitely.
And he somehow managed to do it in a way where he didn't piss anybody off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, white people and black people all embraced his music. And I just thought he was a genius. And it was funny. I wanted to do a cover on the record, and I had a couple of ideas, but as soon as I said Everyday People to Marty, he was like, we have to do it. The fact that you have 1969 on the record and all these little, like you said, Laurel, going back to that time era. Right. Everyday People was also released in 1969 in a very turbulent time. And I think lyrically, it's just brilliant.
I agree.
And I love, when there's a few lines in that song, like, we're all everyday people.
Mm-hmm.
When he says the butcher, the banker, the drummer, and then makes no difference what group I'm in.
Right.
I'm everyday people.
Yep.
And I love the meaning to that. To me, I just took it as, I'm going to be a little crude right now, but we all take our pants off to go to the bathroom.
Right.
None of us are different. No one's better than me. I'm not better than you. Treat each other with respect. And I just thought it was a great last statement on this record.
Got it. All right. Well, we're about to crank up the last track from New Day, but John and I will return to wrap everything up. But until then, check this out. Everyday People, John Corabi, right here on Radio Bypass.
My own beliefs are in my song. The butcher, the
That's John Corabi, Everyday People from New Day. Man, what a ride. This album is so good. I've been using the word masterpiece when I tell people about this upcoming album and to be on the lookout for it because I just absolutely love it. And listening to it now, front to back like this with the stories behind it, it hits even different and even, I don't know, more powerfully. But what, in your mind, John, when people walk away from New Day, what do you hope they take with them?
Honestly, I had such a great time doing this record. I think that I stepped into a new level of lyric writing, and I couldn't be more proud. So all I really want is for people, like in the old days, tear the cellophane off the vinyl, put it on the turntable, and as you said earlier, enjoy the ride from front to back. You know what I mean?
Yes.
As a whole.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, John, that is great. That was New Day. That's the brand new album from John Corabi. And this right here, what we've just been doing, John and I, this is what albums are all about. Stories, honesty, and rock and roll that deserves to be heard. So make sure you check it out, stream it, buy it, support the music. Go to johncorabi.com if you don't already have this album and order a copy right now. Okay, because this should be in everyone's music collection, without a doubt. And John, thank you so much for taking us inside this album, man. It's been great doing this with you.
And to you, sir, thank you for everything. Thanks for waving the flag still. Like I was saying earlier, we don't have the opportunities now with radio, MTV is all gone. So,
yeah,
we don't get the opportunities to do this kind of stuff. So I appreciate it. Hats off to you. And hopefully we'll come back and talk about record number 2.
Indeed. I can't wait. All right, guys. Once again, johncorabi.com. Go add this album to your collection right now. This is Radio Bypass, and we'll see you next time.